My fiancée vanished for a week. She came back with gang tattoos on her face. I begged her to stop. She left a note that broke me. Then I found her final letter. I woke up to an empty bed in our Chicago apartment, the morning light slicing through the blinds. Sarah, my fiancée, was gone. On her pillow, a handwritten note in her neat cursive. My heart sank as I grabbed it, my fingers trembling. Ethan, I need a week to find myself. Don't worry, I'll be back. Love, Sarah. My stomach twisted. Find herself? We were 6 months from our wedding, and she'd never mentioned anything like this. Sarah Bennett was my everything. We met at a coffee shop in Lincoln Park 4 years ago, her laugh pulling me in like a magnet. She worked at a bank downtown, charming clients with her quick wit and warm smile. I'm a graphic designer, steady but not flashy, and we balanced each other perfectly, or so I thought. Her note felt like a punch to the gut. Why now? Why alone? I paced our small living room, the city's hum faint through the window. I tried calling her, straight to voicemail, texted her, no reply. My mind raced. Maybe she was stressed from work, planning our wedding, but she'd been fine last night, curled up with me watching a movie. I stared at the note again, her words looping in my head. Mental health? She'd never hinted at struggling. I couldn't shake the unease. Sarah loved routine, her morning jogs by Lake Michigan, her coffee with almond milk. This wasn't her. I thought about calling her sister, Emily, but hesitated. What if this was just a moment, and I was overreacting? I sat on the couch, gripping my phone, willing it to buzz with her name. The silence was deafening. I didn't know it then, but that note was the start of everything unraveling. A week later, I stood frozen in our Chicago apartment doorway. Sarah was back, but something was horribly wrong. Her face, once radiant, was now marred by bold, jagged tattoos, black symbols sprawling across her forehead and under her eyes. My breath caught in my throat. Sarah, what the hell? I managed, my voice shaking. She brushed past me, dropping her bag on the floor, her eyes avoiding mine. I followed her to the kitchen, my heart pounding. Why didn't you tell me? I asked, staring at the ink, stark against her pale skin. She sighed, leaning against the counter. I needed to do this, Ethan. It felt right. Her voice was flat, distant. I blinked, trying to process. Sarah, who'd never even wanted a piercing, now had gang symbols, Chicago street gang symbols. I later learned from a quick Google search etched on her face. We argued that night, our voices echoing off the walls. I told her it was reckless, that her job at the bank, where she met clients face to face, would be ruined. You didn't think about your career? Our future? I shouted, my hands trembling. She stared at me, her eyes cold. I didn't think about anything, Ethan. I just did it. My stomach churned. This wasn't the Sarah I knew, the one who planned every detail of our wedding with care. I pressed her for answers, but she shut down, saying she felt compelled by something she couldn't explain. Compelled? It sounded unhinged. I lay awake that night, her soft breathing beside me, wondering if she was slipping away. The woman I loved was changing, and I didn't know how to stop it. The morning after our fight, Sarah was gone again. Our Chicago apartment felt hollow, her side of the closet empty. I checked my phone, her number blocked me. My chest tightened as I called again, hoping it was a glitch. Voicemail. I texted, my fingers fumbling, begging her to talk. Nothing. The silence was suffocating, like the city outside had swallowed her whole. I drove to Lake Michigan, where Sarah always went to clear her head. The wind whipped across the water, but she wasn't there. No sign of her jogging along the path, no trace of her sitting by the rocks. My heart raced as I scanned the horizon, desperation creeping in. Was she hurt? Lost? Or did she just not want to be found? Back home, I called her sister, Emily, in Evanston. She blocked me too, Emily said, her voice tight. I don't know what's going on, Ethan. This isn't Sarah. We both suspected something deeper, maybe a breakdown. Emily promised to reach out to their parents, but I could hear the fear in her words. I spent the day pacing our Lincoln Park apartment, checking my phone obsessively. Every creak of the floorboards made me jump, hoping it was her key in the lock. By night, I sat on the couch, staring at the engagement photo on the wall, Sarah's smile, now a stranger's. I felt helpless, like I was losing her to something I couldn't fight. The tattoos, her silence, her disappearance, it was all spiraling, and I was caught in the wreckage, wondering how to pull her back. I woke up to a text from Sarah at 3 a.m., my phone's glow cutting through the dark. We're done, Ethan. I can't do this. My heart plummeted. I stumbled to the porch of our Lincoln Park apartment, finding a box with her engagement ring, $5,000 I'd saved for, and gifts I'd given her over 4 years. A note inside, scrawled in her handwriting, gutted me. You never understood me. I stayed out of pity. I sank to the floor, my chest tight, her words burning. I spent the day drinking, the Chicago skyline blurring outside my window. I drafted an email to quit my graphic design job, my finger hovering over send. My life felt like it was crumbling. I called Emily, Sarah's sister, my voice raw. She's not herself, Emily said. We think it's a breakdown. She's cut off mom and dad too. They were trying to get her help, but Sarah wasn't answering anyone. I drove to Lake Michigan again, hoping she'd be there, staring at the waves. Nothing. The emptiness clawed at me. I pictured her face, those tattoos, her cold eyes during our fight. Was this really over? 7 years? Gone. I wanted to scream, to beg her to come back, but she'd vanished. That night, I sat alone, the box of her things mocking me from the corner. I loved her, but she was tearing me apart, and I didn't know how to stop the bleeding. A year later, my phone lit up with Sarah's name. I froze froze, standing in my new Wicker Park apartment, the Chicago skyline twinkling outside. My thumb hovered over answer. I hadn't heard from her since she left that box on my porch, her hateful note still etched in my mind. I picked up, my voice shaky. "Sarah?" she asked to meet. Against my better judgment, I agreed. She showed up at my door, a shadow of the woman I loved. Her face, still marked by those gang tattoos, was caked in makeup to hide them. She'd lost weight, her eyes dull, her hands trembling. We sat on my couch, the air heavy. "I messed up, Ethan," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. She admitted to using Adderall, then harder drugs, to cope with work stress. The tattoos? A reckless choice during a spiral she couldn't explain. We talked until 4 a.m., her words a mix of regret and defiance. She wanted us to try again, but her dismissal of my pain stung. "You got off easy," she said, as if my near breakdown didn't count. I told her how I'd almost quit my job, how her note gutted me. She shrugged, like my hurt was nothing compared to hers. My anger flared. She hadn't even apologized for the venom she'd spewed. I looked at her, a stranger wearing Sarah's face, and realized the woman I loved was gone. Letting her back in felt like betraying myself. 6 months after Sarah's visit, Emily called me. I was in my Wicker Park apartment, the Chicago wind howling outside. "Ethan, Sarah's gone," she said, her voice breaking. "She overdosed last Sunday." My heart stopped, but no tears came. I sat on the couch, staring at the wall, the news sinking in like a stone. Sarah, my Sarah, was dead. Emily explained Sarah had been hiding across state lines, dodging a warrant. Her family, drained from her chaos, planned a quiet cremation. I thought of the Sarah I met, her laugh, her warmth, the way she'd hold my hand after my mom died. That Sarah vanished years ago, consumed by drugs and bad choices. The woman who slashed my tires, who screamed at my office, wasn't her. I wanted to feel something, grief, anger, anything, but I was empty. I missed the Sarah I loved, the one I dreamed of building a family with. But this Sarah, the one who broke me, who dismissed my pain, I felt nothing. I walked to Lake Michigan that night, the waves crashing under the stars. I let her go, piece by piece, knowing I had to move on, but her shadow lingered, a weight I'd carry forever.